What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a very cool video for you. I'm going to be talking about the top 14, I couldn't help it, 14 IPs I would love to see a board game made from. These are going to be some really nerdy crap here, so just fair warning. Let's go ahead and dive right in. And as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that I'm able to run this channel, and that's because I take no money from any game developer ever, so that I can provide honest coverage for you on the industry in my reviews and my unboxings. Anytime I'm speaking about a board game, you know that it's coming from me and not my wallet, because I take no money from them. But that obviously does cost money to buy all this stuff and make the channel stuff and all that. So thank you so much for financially helping and supporting and making this a community run channel. If you can give to that, there is a link down below. If not though, that's fine. Just a like, a comment saying that this video is helpful makes it all worthwhile. At the end of the day, I'm making these videos for you guys, not me. So hopefully you guys can enjoy this. I enjoyed putting this one together. This one was fun. So let's just go and dive in and nerd out a little bit. I'll talk about, I guess, what I want to see in the board game, not just, hey, make this, make blank the board game, but like why? Like, why would it be a good game? Why would I want to see it, made into an actual board game? And not some crappy, run-of-the-mill cookie cutter pasted on IP theme crap that we see on Kickstarter and we see in retail stores. None of that crap. I want like an actual really great board game that matches and encompasses the IP and the theme behind it in meaningful and mechanical ways that are actually fun and balanced. So, alright, let's just dive right in. Starting things out, and this is not in any particular order. Don't ask me to do that. Okay, I cannot pick my favorite children, even if they're IPs that I don't own or have any sway over. First one is definitely Metroid. I would love to see a Metroidvania style game. We see some of that in some of our games, like Alien Trespass Odyssey was really big on the map and how you have to have different technologies to get to different parts of the map, and sometimes you come across it but then you have to come back later, and you get that Metroidvania kind of feel, but it's not Metroid. And I think one of the things that would make Metroid great, besides the variety of enemies, besides the power suit, besides the solo-friendly gameplay that it would have, is the fact that it has boss battles, the fact that it has unlocks, different powers. It's not just technology you're researching and then you use it to traverse the map. It's you use that to also fight enemies, and it's not just unlocking a colored door, but the super missile is actually useful for other things, or the morph ball, or just the world is interesting. It has a lot of people that like it. Strong female protagonist. It would be really cool. I think it would be awesome. And I don't know how you would necessarily incorporate more people into it. I'm sure you could. But if nothing else, it would be a great solo Metroidvania game that I would love to play. I think that'd be awesome. But you know what? To start off on a double, if we can't have that, well, let's just get Castlevania then. It's called Castlevania, Metroidvania style games. There's a reason it's the Vania. Same thing, right? Castlevania, I think you could do a bit easier in multiplayer, but still have solo friendly. It's still got bosses, still got unlocks, got a lot more items in it versus, Metroid, which has more, I guess, sort of ammo with like the missiles and stuff like that. But with it actual, Castlevania, you could, have shops where you buy different stuff and get new equipment and do a lot of that. It typically has more variety of enemies. Just depends. I mean, you can do a lot in either one, but suffice it to say, Castlevania, Metroid, I would love a board game made around that, around the concept of traversing this intricate map and finding hidden unlocks and gaining new abilities, and then trying to figure out, okay, what can I do with that, and fighting bosses and using all my tools at my disposal for that. And again, all solo friendly. So I think that's a positive as well. Okay, next up is Final Fantasy needs a board game. Oh, well. Okay, apparently some exist. So how about Final Fantasy Tactics, which is really what I'm going at here too. Final Fantasy, I think, would be great if they don't make some crappy chocobo, go steal each other gems trash. Again, I don't want trash tier games, and I don't know if that's trash, but it's not Final Fantasy, if you know what I mean. It's just a game that's themed based off it. I would love a whole actual narrative Final Fantasy game where you have your party and you level up and all that stuff. But there's already board games for Final Fantasy. I'll go in and omit that one, but give me Tactics specifically. I think Tactics, I don't know how this is not more prevalent in board games. And it's not just that. You could do Advanced Wars, you could do the old Front Mission games, there's a Sega, there's a lot of different games that you could do this tactics style, rock, paper, scissors, pick a person, and then you move and have them do certain things. And it pretty much is a digital board game. So how this hasn't really translated to board games, I don't know. Our skirmishes are kind of like that, but it's still not quite the actual feel. And one of the things I think, besides a really great story, is the job system. Again, I have seen games that are like the Tactics and that have the job system, but it's like a card game or some junk like that, which nothing against card games, but that doesn't capture the feel of Final Fantasy Tactics. So I would love to be able to get my white mage and my black mage and my monk and the dark knight and level them up and gain new people and go on this epic quest and have the 3D terrain I can move around and have it would just be amazing. I would love a Final Fantasy Tactics game. I would love it. Now, before I move on from this, I wanted to say this before, but again, a lot of times I just like to be raw and unfiltered, and you guys just get my conscious stream of thought spewed into your face here. I would love for you guys to let me know what you think would be great. This is my list. It's just what I came up with some thought. This was not just a winged up thing. I've been making this list over a few days now and really kind of thinking about why and which one would be good. And sometimes I remove stuff if I just didn't think it would work out well. And doing research to see if there's some random freaking Final Fantasy games about chocobos that I didn't know about. So anyway, suffice it to say, there's probably plenty more. I would love to hear in the comments below. You guys know I'll be down in there reading it and nerding out over all of your awesome ideas. So really excited to see that. But moving on from now, we have The Wheel of Time. Now, this is the perfect opportunity for one. There is an Amazon series that is being produced, that is being made, that will be airing. And before Game of Thrones, the TV series came out, this was the second most popular fantasy series ever, second only to Lord of the Rings, which I don't know if anybody's going to beat that. I don't know if Game of Thrones did it. I doubt it. There's no way. Anyway, Wheel of Time, it's a perfect time to do it. I think it'd be great for a multitude of reasons. First of all, they have a unique power system with the magic where you actually have different elements you have to combine. I can see a lot of interesting token or card play around that, around like gaining it and then making these different weaves to do different things. You can think of it kind of like Minecraft crafting or something like that, where you need different things and then that makes this. So if you want Balefire, well, you have to mix in this. Don't use Balefire, by the way. But if you get it, then you mix in, a little bit of air and a little bit of spirit and a little bit of fire and a little bit of rock or whatever, right? And a certain orientation in that. So you could actually build your weaves. I think that'd be super cool. You could do some really neat card play around that, especially, I feel. Kind of like if you played a Magic the Gathering game, but all you had was mana, right? It'd be kind of like that, I guess. The Aes Sedai and all the different factions there, and you could maybe you are an Aes Sedai and you can even have warders, and so you can recruit warders, and then have them go. There's a lot of unique enemies too, like the near draw and the slinking around shadows and doing stuff like that, and your generic Trollocs, and there's a ton of stuff you could do. A ton of boss battles with Forsaken, every single book. Or not. But seriously, I think it'd be great. It doesn't even necessarily have to follow the Wheel of Time story, but I mean, you totally could, obviously. And in fact, you could even do different quests, but they split up so much. That'd be a little weird, maybe, perhaps, too. Either way, I think it would make a great board game. There was at one point a card game that nobody cared about. There was some video games that nobody cared about way back when. I'm talking like, they're like MUDs. A modern, cool, dungeon crawl askew board, legacy style story campaign driven Wheel of Time board game, I'd be all over that. That'd be freaking sweet. Yes, please. I want to fight the Shan-Chan. Okay, moving on from that, we have Stargate, and not this crappy game. I'm not even going to count this. I don't know what in God's name that is, but it's not Stargate, so I'm not counting. Don't Google Stargate on Board Game Geek. You're going to be sad when you see this stuff. Technically, I guess there was a board game at one point, but I want a real board game. Stargate, I think, would be great. You have different. You can like pick away your away team, right? Kind of like your SG-1 style thing, right? It'd be kind of like XCOM like, if you know what that is, where you kind of pick your units and you name them and you kind of like them and they level up and gain different stats and stuff like that. And then of course you go through the portal, and then it's almost like a Shadows of Brimstone style thing where that could lead to any kind of world you want. So it's expansion. You can make all the expansions you want out of this game, and really make us pay a ton of money for it and have content overload all you want. It's perfect for Kickstarter. That would be amazing. I would love a Stargate game where you just pick your guys and go through there. And I feel like it kind of leads itself to mini campaigns. Oko Chronicles does this, where you have a whole bunch of little campaigns and each one's like 3 to 4 missions maybe. What's nice about that is you could do that on a weekend and just finish it. It's really nice to finish a campaign. It's also really tight. There's no filler. There's none of that kind of stuff like you get like sometimes when you play Gloomhaven and it's like, I'm just doing random missions at this point. Like this is actual, every single one matters. There's a story to it. You could have replicators. You could have all sorts of different interesting factions and stuff like that. And then an overarching story, kind of like a lot of the shows were, right? Where you kind of have like an overarching thing, but then you also have this is this story, and you could go through that story. Maybe they're just one-offs too. They're kind of like Zombicide ones, but with a lot more oomph. And then you get to keep your people throughout it. So there's like this meta around it where each campaign is unique, but each time you go through it, you have your guys and they're getting better and better and the different things there. It'd be really cool to balance that out and see how that works. And I think it'd play kind of unique too. One-offs with like a meta level up system. Sounds pretty cool to me. I'd be all for it. I'm down with it. Better than this crap, whatever the heck that is. Okay, moving on. We have Diablo. Again, they're making a Diablo 4. They're making a Diablo 2 remake. It's the perfect time to get Diablo in here. The closest I have seen that I have felt really captured the ARPG style dungeon romp is what I call it, not a dungeon crawl. You're not crawling, you're blazing through there, killing everything in sight, is Massive Darkness. Now it had flaws, there's a second one coming out, but it also doesn't have the theme of Diablo, right? It's a lot more cartoony. They have Care Bears literally in the game at this point, so very different in its own thing. I would love to see an actual board game based off this that really captures it well. I think there are some that capture the inventory style. There are some that capture perhaps the combat style, but not both. I want a lot of items. I want a good RPG system, and I want fast-paced combat. Master Darkness doesn't have that. You roll the dice and have to go figure out what, I have a +1 here, and then I'm in the shadow, but then they have that equipment there and with that ability, but then I was buffed with here, and then I have this skill. No, it needs to be fast-paced combat. You need to be going through there. You need to be mowing down stuff. There needs to be elite enemies that you're fighting versus mobs versus bosses that have different mechanics and a lot of different classes. I want Diablo, the board game, and I think that would be amazing. I'd be all over that. One of the nice things about that dungeon romp feel is you do kind of go through and you're just like, 12 goblins. So I'm going to whirlwind freaking through them and kill them all. And then I'm going to headbutt the goblin boss, Lieutenant Epic guy to death. And then I'm going to take his loot. That is what I want in a board game. And I want it like now, if I could. Like that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Next up, Deus Ex. I think that would also be a great board game. As you can see, you got augmentations, right? So you can kind of customize your character and do all this. And this would be, obviously solo play, multiplayer play. I think it would do great. And I don't mean competitive. I mean cooperative. Very story driven, right? There should be branching story, like speech trees, dialogue trees that you can kind of pick and choose how you react to different people. And that kind of affects the gameplay. You got bosses. You have the passive or pacifist view as well. So it'd be interesting to go through a dungeon crawler and never kill anyone. I think that'd be awesome. You talk your way out of fights, or you sneak around so you can have some stealth stuff as well too. You're disabling people, you're moving bodies around, you're doing all that kind of stuff. Or you go in guns blazing, and you could do that as well. And I think that would be a great kind of, between the dialogue tree and the moral ambiguity of, do you go and disable this guy, or do you actually go kill him? And I think it would be great. I think that'd be a great board game. And again, it's a cool theme. The augments are cool. You can unlock new abilities, new mechanics to kind of do that. You have a whole tools of your trade. You'll see that a lot of these. I really like the idea of having a set amount of tools that constantly is tweaked and grown for me that I can then use to problem solve. Okay, now how do I solve this? So it's a little open-ended, right? Here's a scenario. Here are my items. Now, how do I use this? Which ones do I use and where to be able to get through it? I think that'd be awesome. I would love to see a Deus Ex something, especially again with the discussion tree. I think that'd be really, really cool. All right, next up we have Death Stranding. Now, I know this is not everybody's favorite video game. I happen to freaking love it, but it'd be a great freaking board game, and I'm going to tell you why. This might be my highest one. First of all, story and atmosphere and world and theme and style are completely unique, way crazy. You have boss battles, right? So you can have those boss battles. You can actually shoot guns and do all that kind of stuff. You have stealth mechanics where you're having to stealth through things and all that. I'm talking different scenarios. Maybe it's open world even. You have to kind of go through this and do different things. Then of course you have actual traversal, like in that open world, and trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B and what you can do with that. I think there would be a great way to capture that in a board game, to where it's kind of like that Metroidvania, but instead of that, it's actually more involved with actual crafting. There's the inventory management, right? Trying to make it very efficiently, how to get from point A to point B to increase your rep with different areas that give you different rewards as you unlock different tiers into that. And then of course there is, again, crafting. So instead of actually unlocking super missiles, and you might actually unlock super missiles, but then you have to actually craft super missiles and be able to, take it enough with you to get, to where you need to go. So you're planning your route. And again, I think all of this could fit into a very interesting board game. If somebody more enlightened than me could actually make this mechanically, I think it'd be awesome. And then you even have buildings, so you can actually kind of build and increase areas. And, I kind of think kind of like those Civilization games, right? Where you're building out your city, but instead you're building out this. And so you're, you have your little area, your little base thing that you've delivered to, and their high-end rep. And then you can actually build a queue, maybe like a Star Wars Rebellion kind of queue system, right? Where eventually you're going to be able to build your bike, but then you can also generate it so it can go farther, and you can build generators to kind of string it along to be more efficient in that. Maybe it's kind of like a Zia kind of, sandbox area. I don't know. It would be awesome. I would love it. I'm all for it. I want Death Stranding, the board game. I want boss battles. I want shooting. I want crafting. I want building. I want inventory management. I want traversal. It just sounds awesome. And a cool story. All of that, I think, just sounds great. It would be a freaking sweet board game, and I really, really want it. Next up, John Wick. Let's have a John Wick game. John Wick, the board game. Let's do it. John Wick's popular. They're going to come out with another one right after The Matrix figures out what it's doing and all that kind of stuff. It'd be freaking sweet. It's solo friendly, obviously, right? In fact, I think it probably pretty much should be solo friendly. You have essentially, maybe an efficiency system, right? So you can see it's not just about killing them. You can always kill your enemies, but it's maybe the more efficient you are, the more you earn money to buy new things for the next mission or something like that. But any kind of finesse rating that you can do. I'm thinking kind of like a Devil May Cry video game, not the board game. Devil May Cry kind of system where, if you do it in style, or if you're really efficient with what you do, then you actually get bonus points or something like that. I think that'd be super cool. With the latest John Wick, we saw some high level enemies, right? With better armor and stuff like that. So as you progress and get more equipment and the bulletproof, stuff, then that's all good. You can have stealth. You can plan escape routes. I think there's a lot of possibility there. And if you don't like John Wick or can't get John Wick, well, let's get Hitman. It's the same thing. They even have a mobile game of Hitman that is a digital board game, right? I mean, you could totally do this. You could get disguises. You could, again, you have your hit or your target that you're trying to go after. Different factions, by the way, going back to John Wick, different factions would be really cool too, and trying maybe to do some missions for them and then do some missions for them and then, go after the person who betrayed you there and stuff like that. Hitman, you could do, again, the same kind of thing. It's the same style. Where you can try and be quiet, you can go in loud, you can go in quiet and then end up being loud if you're caught. Different various ways to interact with terrain to be able to, move bodies around or, kill people silently and assassinate them and all that kind of stuff. I think it'd be a very cool board game. Definitely doable. Again, the mobile app alone proves that it's technically possible to at least do it at that level. And I think you could do it even more than that in a board game. I would love to see it. Next up, Terraria. Now, I put Minecraft/Terraria, but then I saw that there is a Minecraft board game, and while it's not exactly what I would want out of it, I think it's fine. My main thing, and the reason I picked Terraria, then first of all, I think it's a great game, but I want building but then I also want like combat. And one thing that's great about Terraria is it has a lot of bosses, right? And so you can actually fight different bosses, whether it's the Eye of Cthulhu or a giant robot skeleton or, a king slime or, whatever it is. There's a lot of bosses. So there's bosses, a ton of items, a ton of loot, a lot of crafting. So I want to be able to, have these NPCs that come in and live in my little town that I building that I build up and expand in theme. And so I want to be able to gather resources, but I don't want it to be like in creative mode, right? I want it to be in that kind of mode where you're going through and you're fighting and you have to make it back because you're hungry. You need to make sure you cook enough food to go through, or it's going to be dark and you need glow sticks or a flashlight or a whatever, and eventually you can fly and go. Like I think it'd be great to have something like that where there's some building mechanic, there's some base building kind of NPC stuff, shops, items, you can loot different stuff, come across different things in the world, and then of course again you have those actual boss fights as well. I just think it'd be really cool. I don't know exactly how that looks in a board game, but I'd be welcome for somebody to show me exactly how that looks like, as long as it's cool. All right, next up, Tron, but not this. I don't even know what's going on with his eyes. I don't want to know why his eyes are stretched out. I guess it's rough. He's also purple. It's whatever. Okay, there was a board game. I'm not counting it. I don't know what this is. Don't do this. This looks terrible. This is the best image I got. The actual game looks weird. Okay, it's not Tron. I would love a Tron board game for a few reasons. First of all, I think it'd be great to have kind of like mini games, right? It'd be kind of legacy-like in that they introduce mechanics that are temporary. I think that's a really cool idea. Sworn does that. There's going to be a few that do that kind of style thing where it's like, hey, here's something new you're going to be doing. And you would do this around the games, right? Whether it's kind of like the weird bouncy lacrosse ring thing, or whether it's the bikes or the light cycles or anything like that. You can have these mini games you can kind of introduce and play and have a little bit of fun with it, but they don't overstay the welcome. Meanwhile, you're going on a kind of a grander quest you can download data onto your, disc or whatever. I just really want to paint the minis, to be honest. That's all I want out of life, is to paint a light cycle and a Tron mini and stuff like that. I think it'd be great. I would love to see that. And then like you actually get into like the Tron Legacy or the old Tron 2.0 video game, even if you go that far back. And the whole world of Tron, I think, is very, very cool. And there's a lot of opportunity there to have some, neat things. Maybe you're on the little, whatever kind of, IO, line, bridge ship thing, and you're having to fight off people as they get there, and you have to get, to point A to point B or something like that. And, there's a lot you could do. I think it'd be cool. I'd like it. I'd like to see it. Next up, Dishonored. Dishonored is a very cool theme. If you don't know what Dishonored is, it's kind of like BioShock, but more steampunky. It's pretty much how it is. And then maybe the old Thief games. And so it's, you can go stealth, you can go loud. There's not really a pacifist, view to it. It's not the same focus that, like Deus Ex has. But again, very cool theme, as you can see. I think it's a great theme, and you get all these different powers. I told you I'd kind of like that, but it's not just powers, it's also just kind of a tool set, right? So you can eventually learn how to do far reach, right? And that's like where you can actually kind of like teleport from one location to another and like skip over somebody who would normally see you, right? Or go from above, or do all this kind of stuff. So different traversal things. You can like summon rats. You can do all sorts of different things that allow you to kind of bypass people or just be more efficient in how you kind of go about. But then you also have all these different weapons and gadgets and stuff like that you're gathering. And so some of them are the kill, some of them don't. So I think between the story, between the theme, between the freaking cool minis it have, and between the opportunity to, again, have this kind of like, here's a scenario, here's your tools that you can use, figure out how you want to get through this efficiently and, kind of do well in it to get to the next one. I think that'd be awesome. There is opportunity, I think, for more than one player as well, but it is definitely solo friendly. Also, you could be one person, or maybe you're two people going through, and, it'd be cool. I like it. I think that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. Next up, finally, Knights of the Old Republic, The Old Republic, Star Wars The Old Republic, The Old Republic time frame. Dear God, please give me this game. If there's one game I get out of this freaking video, it's this. If you're a game designer, make me this, please. Make it happen. And don't let Fantasy Flight Games do it. I don't want an app to it. I want to be able to play a board game. I want to play a board game with it. Not play, I have a digital version if I want it. the Old Republic is a great kind of area. You have different era, I guess, not area. You have different Jedi, you have bounty hunters, you have Sith going around, you have cool ships and all this different stuff. Different fighting styles. You can see double bladed, you can see double sword, you can have single sword with, 2 hands. You can have different Jedi power unlocks that you get, so you can like progressively get better and better. Maybe first you get Force Lightning, but then you get freaking group Force Lightning, and I can see this being a very cool dungeon crawl style game. You have a ton of different styles you can do. You have speaking of styles, like it's just a cool freaking theme as well, right? I mean, the style is all over the place. You can do very cool stuff. You can go through, unlock new Jedi abilities and kind of mix and match them and go either light side or dark side or somewhere in the middle, that kind of gray area there. Again, you have the speech trees. Again, you have a heavy story focus. You have a wealth of stuff to pull from in the IP, and a lot of fans, I think, of it too. And again, you can be anyone in this guy. Like, make a mini of all of these, and they all fit, and they're all cool. But whether you're the freaking robot bounty hunter, or whether you're a commando in there for the Republic, or whether you're a dual-bladed blue saber Jedi Inquisitor, or whether you're a Darth Vader wannabe, or whether, like, it doesn't matter what it is. There are so many options that you could do here. I would love to see a Old Republic themed dungeon crawl board game. I can't think of anything better than having a whole bunch of Jedi and we all have unlocked different powers or whatever. I'm the bounty hunter, I'm the commando, or I'm the juggernaut, or I'm the, there's so many options. And then having this cool story and this cool theme, and having all the Star Wars, board games set up, and, all the different, as you can see, it's a lot more colorful than a lot of the modern, or I guess originals. So you get a lot of different color and stuff like that. It'd be cool to paint the minis. It'll all look cool. You can make any one of these a mini and I'd be happy. I think it's a cool theme, and I definitely want this as a board game. This is probably my top one. If I had to pick one, it'd be an Old Republic board game. Yes, please. I would like some more. Okay, that's it. That's all I had. Like I said, I would love to hear your ideas down below. Let me know which ones you like, which ones you disagree with. Maybe I tried to look for games that are these. Maybe there's some I didn't even know about. If you got a great idea, I'd love to hear it. There's obviously plenty more. I'm very board game and movie focused, but maybe, you have more books that you could pull from there, or, whatever it might be. I would love to hear it. So let me know in the comments below. And I hope you had fun with this video too. I had fun making it. Definitely was excited to talk about this. It's just cool stuff. So just thinking about all the possibilities. Oh, it'd be so cool to get this. It'd be so cool to have that. It'd be fun. So anyway, thanks so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Seriously, enjoy the rest of your day. I mean it. Enjoy it. You deserve it. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.